Hi there, I'm Soren Reiff, and today I want to share some thoughts and experiences about the perfect tone or the ultimate sound. I think as a guitar player, you can probably recognize the dream of this ultimate sound that will make your ideas flow, make everything easy to play, and just keep you inspired for the rest of your life. Well, the more experience that I get, the more frustrated I get, because the more I realize that it's really, really impossible to get a perfect tone that's suitable for everything you're playing. I will share some thoughts and I will share some samples with you, showing some of the things I will be talking about in this video. Because, of course, it has a huge impact what guitar you're using, what amp you're using, what pedals you're using, the cables, the picks, everything has an impact on your tone, your sound. But one thing that I want to talk about in this video is that it's important to compare your tone or your dreams of the sound to what you're using in and the environment you're using the sound in. Because I don't know how many times I've been preparing for a session, dialing in some settings, and I thought this is suitable for the track, and then it doesn't work when we start recording. Or maybe I dial in some setting that's working for one track, and then we move ahead for the next track, and suddenly it doesn't work there. It's really weird. In the beginning I couldn't understand it, but then I realized, well, even though it's the same musicians playing on two different tracks, maybe it's just the change of the key the songs are in, or maybe it's because the drummer has tuned down his snare for the next song, changed the cymbal, or the bass player swapped to a 5-string bass instead of a 4-string bass. Maybe the keyboard player changed his strings patch and stuff like that. Minor adjustment that has a huge impact on the overall mix, and therefore a huge impact on how your sound is working in the overall mix. And it's the same when you're working or playing in a band. Even though you're playing with the same musician, the same songs, just these minor adjustment that the bass player is changing to another bass, or the keyboard player is turning around and playing on the organ instead of a Roach, make one sound that's perfect for one song, maybe it doesn't work for the next song because the overall mix has changed. It's really, really interesting, and it's really important that you give it some thought. Where am I going to use this sound, and in what context am I going to use it, and who else will be playing, and what else will be affecting the overall mix and how it's working. When I was preparing my next album, I made demos for all the tracks, and of course when I had programmed drums, bass, keyboards, percussion, stuff like that, I recorded the theme, and of course I took some time to find the right sound for each song I was recording. I knew it was just a scratch theme, but I took some time and I dialed in some settings that I thought, oh, this is great. And then sometimes later when I get all this stuff back, the drums, the keyboards, and everything has been recorded by real musicians, and the whole mix has changed a lot. And when I start mixing and everything starts to sound close to the final version, then I'm preparing for recording my guitar for real. And then when I started to do that, and I turned up the original scratch theme, when I just listened to it solo, I said, oh, it sounds okay. And then suddenly when I turned up everything around it, I said, oh, this isn't working. It's either too muddy or too harsh or too compressed or has too little compression. A lot of things is really interesting how just that the environment has changed around the sound, suddenly it isn't working anymore. And here I want to share one of the tracks, and you will start hearing the track with the original theme, and then I will swap to one of the takes when I was recording the new version of the theme. And in the beginning, the difference isn't that big because there isn't that much going on around the theme, and therefore maybe you don't notice the big difference. But then later on, also when I mute some of the instruments, suddenly you can hear, oh, there isn't any bottom end in the original theme, or it's too harsh, or it's too compressed. And of course, if there isn't any bottom end, maybe it's because when I recorded the scratch theme, then there was a lot of stuff going on, me messing around with the keyboard parts and poorly programmed bass or stuff like that. And then suddenly there wasn't room for a really full body, low end guitar. And suddenly when I've fixed everything in the mix, you suddenly miss some of the low frequencies in the guitar parts, and suddenly there's room for them because the real keyboard player and the real bass player knows how to make room for all the other members in the band. It's really interesting that something makes room, even though they are playing more. The way they arrange their parts make room for my guitar, and therefore actually I can have a fuller guitar tone here compared to what I had in the original version. Well, I hope by listening to the two different themes, the old back scratch theme and the new while I was dialing in some sounds, that you will think it's inspiring and will make you think about how you dial in your sound and what works for you. And if you think this is a really good sound, but it doesn't work in the rehearsal room, maybe it's not a matter of you have to change your sound. Maybe it's a matter of thinking what is going on. Maybe the keyboard player is playing Rhodes and organ at the same time, and that's a bit too muddy. That won't make room for your round, full-bodied guitar, or maybe you have to change to a thinner guitar sound just because he's doing that, and that's important for the song. So there's a lot of consideration going on according to your sound and the arrangement and what instruments the other band members are using or are used in the recording if you are doing sessions or stuff like that. Well, please leave your comments and thoughts about all this, and I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. We really appreciate that. And let's listen to the recording I'm talking about, and you will probably see when I'm using the old scratch demo and the new recordings. Okay, till next time, stay cool and stay fabulous.